Dear Old Dad by Aurelius_Carlin. All this is to make Masayoshi Shido, my father, acknowledge me, then exact revenge on him, Akechi said, his lips tight as he confronted the Phantom Thieves. The Phantom Thieves' eyes widened in shock. Fox was the first one to comment. Shido is your father? There was some murmuring among the other thieves. Remember what I said before, how my mother had been in a relationship with some good-for-nothing man? So I'm his bastard child. My very existence is nothing but a scandal. My mother's life turned for the worst after she had me and died. I was a cursed child for her too. There seemed to be some commotion among the Phantom Thieves, all of them looking distraught and angry, except Joker, who was trying to keep a straight face. Is there something funny, Joker? Goro asked, an edge in his voice. The other Phantom Thieves suddenly were also looking at Joker with pretty angry eyes. The leader looked startled. What? No, there is nothing funny, he said a bit too vehemently. This is horrible, just, fate being funny and all. I mean, not funny, tragic. Joker, stop talking before he or one of the others shoot you, Morgana said. Shutting up now, Akira said. Yusuke was the one who spoke up. Forgive our leader, his reaction. We all react differently to shock. In a way, we are both shocked by this, yet it matches the picture we have of the man perfectly. His lips curled. Such vileness, to think that it runs in my blood. What? Akechi cried out. Yusuke took off his mask. My mother, Natsuhiko, lived under the influence of that vile man, Madarame. Going through his papers, it seemed that at times he pushed my mother to, he looked away, sleep with patrons of Madarame for payment. We have found that disgusting man's notes. 9 months before my birth, only one man had taken advantage of this, Masayoshi Shido. Not satisfied with defiling the artist's work with his money laundering, he defiled their bodies with his presence, all for damnable coin. And you have been told what came to be of my mother. Akechi was taken aback. That does sound like him. So he cheated on my mother even then? You don't know half of it, An suddenly said, fire in her voice. My mom was just starting off her modeling career, and during a time when she and Dad were in a rough spot. So she took some jobs that were a bit skeevy, but nothing too bad. Some burlesque dancing for a bunch of government officials. Then after the dance, someone offered her a drink. My mother doesn't remember much after that, except waking up in a hotel room, and later she found out she was pregnant. My father supported her, and they ended up sticking together, but now that his face is all over the TV and his goddamn voice, it came back to her. He's the one. She told me a few weeks ago. He raped her? And you are... Akechi shook his head. I suppose I knew he sunk to these depths. He looked at Joker, who scowled and nodded. Not just once, Makoto said through gritted teeth. Wait, your father is known, Inspector Nichima, the famous inspector who busted several Yakuza. Yes, the Yakuza he pursued with such a personal fervor. My sister has never told you what happened, did she? Some bastard decided to strike at his family, to strike at my mother. They kidnapped her, and as you know, Shido's very cozy with the Yakuza. Apparently, it was one of his little collaborations that my father was trailing. They didn't kill her. They thought just by making an example and sending her back, they would be able to scare him off. Or maybe Shido just got off on showing his power. Of course they didn't. father raised me as his own child and pursued the Yakuza until they killed him. And his death killed my mother. She clenched her fist. But Sis has given me Dad's old case files. With some hacking from Oracle, we managed to piece things together. Shido's crimes are coming back to him. That is disgusting. How could one man be so terrible? Akechi was railing. Haru smiled sadly. We share a terrible father in that, Akechi, and in more ways than one. What? You too? That can't be. Father, or should I perhaps say Kunikazu Kumura, was always a man of great ambition, and he and Shido had been long partners, though, as you know, there was no true friendship there. Shido sought to establish dominance over him, and for this he demanded that Kumura allow him to lay with his wife. She took a deep breath. I have read my father's diaries, though. He showed as little respect for his own marriage as that of his daughter, so he did not actually care all that much. I would say it explains how he treated me so poorly, but I do believe that if I were of his blood rather than that of Shido, he would treat me the same way. She looked sad, then smiled. On the bright side, I now can completely forgive you about killing him. Well, that makes one of us that forgives you. Futaba suddenly stepped forward with an accusing finger. Oh God, no, Akechi said. Oh yes. What, you think my mother had an immaculate conception? You know she worked for cognitive research. Shido was a government bigwig for cognitive research who got to decide which researchers got to stay. So Mom had to pick between letting go of her ambition or get blacklisted or sleep with him. But hey, at least my mom loved me and stayed with me, except, oops. She got in his face, and it briefly seemed that the white-dressed detective was shorter than Futaba. Someone decided that if he had his single mom die and felt like a cursed child bringing death to his parents, that lifestyle is totally sweet, and I should share it with the redhead girl. That is messed up, Akechi. And not even because we're half brother and sister. You're lucky the others convinced me not to tell Sojiro, or he'd have served you the last cup of coffee you'd ever need. Personally, I'm still in favor of shooting you in the head. She stomped off a bit. Akechi lowered his head. I deserve that. Yeah, you kinda do, Ryuji said. I guess it's my turn. Akechi leaned against the wall. What did he do to your mother? The worst, Ryuji said. He married her. What? Akechi said, dumbfounded. I was born Shido Ryuji. My mom was apparently taken in by his smooth talking, and she looked like a good obedient housewife that made for a good political prop. So he married her. Of course, the cheating, the abuse, whatever. My mom had enough and said she wanted a divorce. He ended up agreeing, provided I didn't get to keep his family name, and we never talked about it. And we never did, which is a good thing. Honestly, kind of surprised he didn't have us killed, knowing what we know about him now. Akechi laughed. So, all this time I thought Joker was my rival. You, the idiot brute, were the legitimate one. The one he decided to keep. The one he decided he didn't throw away like trash. His voice broke on the last word. Ryuji sighed and looked at him. Dude, you know the guy. Do you think having him in your family is a good thing? Akechi snarled. I was raised by the foster system, thrown from one abusive family to the other. Man, sure sucks ending up in an abusive household because your mom died, right? Wish my mom didn't die, Futaba yelled from her position, getting another cringe from Akechi. The blonde gave him a bitter smile. And we can swap war stories later, man. But fuck. For me, things looked up after Shido split. And if I hear you right, they never did for you. But let me ask you, knowing him like you do, what kind of dad do you think Masayoshi Shido would have been to you? Or what kind of husband to your mom? Akechi stopped and took a deep breath. Holding his head, he looked at the last two Phantom Thieves. Morgana said, "Don't ask me, I lost my memory. And I've decided that I don't actually need to know. I'm fine with the memories I made and the new family I have." Akira raised his hand. "I know what you're worried about, but no, I'm not related. We checked it. We double-checked it. He wasn't even on the same continent during the time I should have been conceived." An sighed. "Yeah, that was a big relief." Akechi nodded. "Yes, that would have been bad." There was a moment of pause. Kodo asked, "Why exactly are you worried about it, Akechi? Is it because you thought you killed him?" Akechi looked up and blushed. Well, not really." Akira briefly cringed as Makoto turned on him. "Akira Kurusu," Makoto coldly pronounced each syllable. "Look, he was always very pleasant, and you know TV personalities, they can be very charming. He was trying to get us killed." Makoto grabbed him. "Keep your friends close and your enemies closer?" Akira tried. "You screwed all of Shido's children?" she yelled. "Maybe subconsciously. I'm just trying to get back at him that way." He tried. Ryuji sighed as the two had a bit of a talk further. He's not a bad guy. Really helped us all out. Good leader in battle. And he never pushed us on the sex thing. But guy can't keep it in his pants to save his life." Akechi nodded. "I kind of felt some kind of rivalry, like I had to prove myself better than him, but I think I'm getting over it." He sighed. "But this does not change things. We still are on different sides. I cannot let you change Shido's heart." There was an awkward moment as the Phantom Thieves exchanged some looks. An spoke up. "So that doesn't have to be the biggest problem. We kind of changed our plans, figuring all this out." "We are killing him," Yusuke said plainly. "And we were thinking that the conspiracy would blame you." Akechi blinked as he looked at the Phantom Thieves, who all pretty much exchanged determined nods. Makoto sighed. "It's murder, of course, but we have saved so many lives. I feel we are owed this." "What about it's worse for them to live with the guilt?" he asked in An's direction. An grimaced. "Well, I thought about that, and with this guy, the fact that changing his heart may be worse than death doesn't take away the fact that I'd have to live with the knowledge that the bastard would still be alive." Ryuji scowled. "And that's assuming Shido is even able to feel guilt. I mean, I don't know if we want to take that chance." "And you were going to let me take the fall for it?" Akechi said sharply. Hey there, nice to meet you. I'm Joker. You had me beaten up by cops and then tried to shoot me in the head in a dingy little room," Akira waved. "Still in favor of shooting him in the head plan. Any takers?" "No takers? Fine," Futaba called out. Akechi winced. "All right. But I can still not let you do that. I cannot let him die just yet." He raised his sword and the mood suddenly turned more vicious. Akira looked at him. "What is your plan then?" "Once he reaches his apex of power and acknowledges me, I'm going to whisper in his ear. I will tell him the truth of who I really am. And that's when I, an utter disgrace to the world, will rule over him. I will prevail. There was a moment of silence as the Phantom Thieves exchanged troubled looks. Futaba broke the silence. Your plan is really, really dumb. Akechi's face contorted in rage when Ryuji spoke up. Guys, let me handle this. Morgana groaned. Oh, Skull is gonna talk. Now it's all going to be good. Joker whispered, Shut up, Morgana. Morgana saw the angry glares. Shutting up now. Ryuji stepped forward, putting a hand on Akechi's shoulder. I get you, man. Didn't think I'd end up saying that to you, but I get ya. Even if you hate the son of a bitch, you just want to see him smile at you approvingly. Just so you can take his approval and throw it in his goddamn face. Shit, man, I still imagine that kind of stuff. Even so much time later. Akechi wavered. We are not. It's not like with you. It's not about you or me, Akechi. It's about him. Trying to get his approval is like trying to fill a barrel without a bottom. Don't matter how much work you put in, it's broken. I brought the guy pretty drawings of him and tried to get top marks in school. You killed a bunch of folks and tried to make him the most powerful man of Japan. It's got about as much chance to make this guy approve of something someone else did. If it's not done by Shido, it's trash. If you did a good thing, it's because you follow his orders. Hooray for Shido. If things go wrong, then you're a stupid, useless idiot who should have never been born. Am I wrong? Akechi sobbed. No, my plan. I just need to beat you guys. Ryuji wrapped his arms around him. Bro, it's a dumb plan. You're being tricked. And it's not even Shido. You're tricking yourself, and you're a smarter guy than me, and I figured it out. What a touching reunion. A voice suddenly sounded, and a second Akechi appeared out of the shadows, holding up a pistol. How regrettable that one of Captain Shido's tools breaks at this juncture. Oh well, it simply moves up the timetable. Ryuji and Akechi both looked at him, Akechi's face paling in horror. Ryuji just looked like he ate something rotten. Yeah, that's our dad, alright. After the fight, heals were freely being shared around. Akira spoke. Alright, just so we're all clear about the deal, Akechi here is going to help us kill Shido. Afterwards, he's going to turn himself in to the police for murdering him, as well as all the crimes he did, including the murder of Wakabayashiki, as well as all the Phantom Thief stuff we did. When he gets out of prison, he's not allowed to visit LeBlanc anymore and taste the coffee and curry there. If he does show up, he's got only himself to blame if he gets poisoned. He gave Futaba a look, who grudgingly nodded. As long as that happens, we're not going to come after him. Also, you're going to look into seeing a therapist and deal with some of your stuff. Ryuji gave Akechi an encouraging pat on the back. He thought, and then snapped his fingers. Almost forgot, the foster parents who abused you. I'm going to be wanting their names for our next mementos visit. Akechi nodded. Ryuji grinned. Alright then. He grabbed his shotgun and cocked it. Who's ready for a family reunion? End of story.